Hey there, people. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's the beginning of my week, which means another great movie review. It's also still apparently Bertimber or Bertsember or whatever the hell I'm calling it. Either way, a Christmas movie that comes from the twisted mind of my favorite filmmaker, Tim Burton. This time we've got a great one for you folks. One that wonders what happens when you smash together two holidays. The Nightmare Before Christmas. For those who've been in a dark, lonely, sensory-deprived place since about 1992, The Nightmare Before Christmas is the story of Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween. Now, Jack's been bored as fuck for however long, and doing the standard Halloween thing year in and year out just isn't making him happy anymore. While on a walk, he discovers these wooden doors that lead to different worlds, each one representative of a different holiday. The one he zeroes in on is Christmas. Upon discovering it, Jack is enamored with the very idea of Christmas. He loves the color, the laughter, the joy, all that. He eventually decides that he's going to try to do Christmas his own way, and sets about making a plan to do so. So what happens when the king of all things spooky and macabre decides he's going to try his hand at the more wholesome and family-friendly Christmas holiday? You'll just have to watch the film to find out. Now, this film is from the twisted mind of Tim Burton, as I stated. However, it was not directed by Tim Burton. Most of the characters, designs, set pieces, the story, all that comes from Tim Burton. But the film was actually directed by Henry Selick, and the actual screenplay itself was by Carolyn Thompson, who I believe worked on The Goonies. According to Tim Burton himself, the idea for the movie actually came from him witnessing a storefront changing their decorations one year from Halloween right to Christmas, which is something I myself actually witnessed a couple of years back. I had to go to the grocery store on Halloween for some last-minute candy, and these asshats were literally changing two Christmas decorations on Halloween. It felt so damn wrong to me. You have no idea. Now, due to the visuals, the production, all that, this film is obviously a favorite among the goth subculture. It's an actual Disney film that many of those of us that dress in black and brood can get behind. Hell, I think even before Hot Topic went complete corpo, this film was about 90% of the merch that they sold. Yes, I'm being facetious. Also, fuck Hot Topic, the MTV of the goth subculture. Anyway, this film is another one of those childhood favorites for me. This is a running theme if you haven't figured it out by now. I love dark and macabre things. Halloween is the best holiday. Keep up. By the way, shout out to Anne Rice who recently passed away. The woman has had a huge influence on me throughout my life, and my heathen prayers are with her family. I can't imagine losing someone this time of the year. Once we get out of December and those themes, Interview with the Vampire will be the first movie I review in her honor. Guaranteed. So I think that we all know by now what I liked about this movie. Tim Burton. Again, there is nothing about this movie that doesn't have his weird fingerprints all over it. I'm pretty sure, rather than the double helix, that man's very DNA is twisted into macabre shapes and covered in cobwebs. For real. So I'm not really sure what I can say about this movie that I haven't said about every single Tim Burton movie that I've reviewed. I've done 6 of the damn things already. What more can I really say that I haven't said 6 other times previously? I love the visuals. I love the set pieces. I love the character designs. I love the story. I played the original Kingdom Hearts, and this was the sequence that I most looked forward to, and the world that I most loved playing around in. Everything about it is fucking iconic. From the weird, swirly hill to the twisted buildings of Halloween Town itself. Even, again, the real world has that sort of Tim Burton flair to it that you see in some of the other productions of his, such as Edward Scissorhands, which I did last week. A lot of the real-world stuff has that sort of almost bland-looking sameness that the suburbs had in the previous film. Now, Christmas Town really was the one thing that I've never really felt Tim's iconic stamp on. Perhaps a bit in the design of Santa Claus himself, but nothing else really. Christmas Town seems to be someone else's design entirely. I could be very wrong about that, but that's how it's always seemed to me. Even the brief appearance of the Easter Bunny, for crying out loud, had more of a Burton-esque feel to it than the Christmas stuff. Though, I suppose that makes sense. In a way. I mean, you definitely want the two towns, the two worlds to have a different feel to them. Drawing from Tim's imagination for the actual design of Christmas Town would probably have made the two towns way too similar in overall aesthetic. So I can see that. Overall, probably a good decision. So what don't I like about this movie? Easy. The music. Now don't get me wrong, I like Danny Elfman as a composer. The man is legendary, right up there with John Williams as far as I'm concerned. He's composed some absolutely iconic shit, like the Batman music for instance. However, I honestly can't stand musicals. Even when I was a kid, man. It's one of the things I hated about Disney movies. Every time some character randomly burst into song, it annoyed the fuck out of me, and I just wanted them to get on with the movie. The same holds true even now. If I want to listen to music, I'll listen to music. I'm watching a movie because I want to watch a movie. I don't want to see motherfuckers just randomly bursting out into song. It completely takes me out of the movie. However, I will admit to liking This Is Halloween song, and I'm pretty sure it was the Making Christmas song that I was okay with this time around too. For the most part, however, I fast forwarded through all the songs on this watch through. It made the movie that much better for me. I did notice like one or two plot holes too, I think. Like, for however long Jack's been doing the Halloween thing, how the fuck did he not notice the doors to other holiday worlds before that point? How did he not know? I mean, it's not like these things were cleverly hidden or anything, apparently. Hell, I was damned positive that he had to actually go through the door to exit his world before seeing the other doors. Apparently I was wrong, since I just watched the movie and he didn't have to go through that step. He just walked through the Halloween forest and came upon these doors randomly. So seriously, if it was that easy, how has he never seen them before? How has nobody else? Now, I like Lock, Shock, and Barrel, and this isn't necessarily something I don't like, just more of a WTF moment, honestly. I just like to know why the hell the kids used a bathtub to move around in. I mean, just wondering. Also, why did Oogie Boogie have a strange gambling addiction? These are questions for the ages, people. Otherwise, seriously, this is a damn fun movie, especially for a Disney property. I mean, it's no Sleeping Beauty with Maleficent and all her powers of hell line. My favorite line in a Disney film, by the way. But it's good. It's fun. It's creepy and weird and very Tim Burton. If you're a goth, it's most likely in your movie collection. Tell me it's not, and I will know you're a filthy liar.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Now, let me know what you think of this film. If you haven't seen it, I'm guessing you've been in a cult or something, or you had no access to media that would break your programming. Or you're very young. One of the two. So, go watch it. Hurry up. Anyway, tell me what you think of this film in the section below. While you're down there, you can make my Christmas special by hitting those shiny buttons. I'll see you tomorrow for my anime reviews. Lates.